Okay, good morning, students. This is the last portion of human anatomy one for nursing first year. This is muscular system. Don't forget, last time we have seen sensory organs. That is eye and ear, and we have seen what are the layer of eyeball, what are the layer of ear again. Don't forget to read them. Good. So this is the last portion, what we call it a muscular system. This system primarily help to move your body by moving the bones. So muscles, the main function of the muscle is for movements. And there are major three types of muscles, like skeletal muscles, cardiac muscle, and the smooth muscle. From these, skeletal muscle constitute about 40% of body weight in men and 32% in women. So what are the major function of the muscular system? That means the major function of the muscle, the first one is producing body movement. Yes, you can move your hand, you can move your body, any part of the body, like walking, running. The second one is stabilizing body position, like when you are standing erect, it is stabilize the joints so that you can stand, like sitting. The other is storing and moving substance within the body. So temporary storage of food, for example, in the stomach, it can be stored. Then after it is moving through the GIT down. So this is what we call it, storing and moving. Producing heat, a muscular tissue contracts, it also produces heat, a process called thermogenesis. Thermo means heat, genesis means production of heat. So that it is contract and relax, so it produces heat. This is a common major three, the major four function. Producing body movement, stabilizing body position, storing and moving substance in the body, and producing heat or thermogenesis. What are the major characteristics of the muscle or muscle tissue? Has four major principal characteristics by step. The first one is excitability. That means responding to the stimuli. When you touch something, you are going to feel something. That's what we call it, responding to the stimuli or excitability. Or sometimes we call it irritability. The other is contractility. That means contraction, shorten and thicken the what we call the length. The length become short. Extensibility means after the stimuli is removed, you are going to stretch. And elasticity means return to the original shape after contraction or extension. So these are what we call the major four characteristics of muscle. Good. How can we give a name for the muscle? Especially naming of skeletal muscle is based on different kinds, like based on the shape, location, attachment, orientation of the fibers, relative position, or function. The first one is shape. For example, rhomboids muscle is there. For rhomboids is rhombus shape. Trapezius shape. Based on the number of hairs, it can be 2 or 3 or 4. If it is 3, triceps muscle, for example, 3 head, biceps muscle, 2 heads. Some of them you can control, you can give a name based on location, like pectoralis, which is located on the pectoral region, on the chest region. Intercostal, inter means between, costo means ribs, between the ribs. Based on that attachment, temporalis attached to the temporal, femoralis attached to femoral bone, tibialis attached to tibial bone, sternocleidomastoid attached to sternum, clavicle, mastoid insertion, mastoid part of the temporal bone, like sternum, clavicle, and the mastoid process of the skull, that is temporal bone. So based on the attachment, we can give a name again. Based on orientation of the fiber or direction of the fiber. Some of them are straight, so rectus. Some of them are transverse, so we call it transverse. Some of them are oblique, you can say oblique. Some of them are orbicularis, circular. For example, we can say orbicularis oculi, circle muscle around the eye. Oculi means eye. Orbicularis oris. Oris means mouth, circle muscle around the mouth. The other based on the relative position, based on some of them are lateral or medial, some of them are internal or external, superficial or deep, based on their superficial position or relative position, we can explain again. The other based on their function. Some of them are adductor, like adductor muscles are there. Some of them are flexor muscles are there. Some of them are elevate, lifting upward, like for example, Levator scapula. When we say it elevate scapula, levator, elevate. Extensor, extensing, and pronator, supination, different based on the function, we can give a name. The other is origin and insertion. Like usually the proximal means the origin and the distal means the insertion. Based on this again, we can give a name. The other based on relative position again, maximum. When we say maximus, when we say to say large one, medius, middle, minimum, minimus. When we say like gluteus minimum, gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, based on the relative position again, we can give a name. So these are the muscles of the body which are located different on the lower limb, in the upper limb, in the thoracic region again. There are different muscles you have seen here from these figures on anterior position. Here you can observe on the posterior position different muscle and this different muscle. Like you can say based on attachment, sternocleidomastoid muscle, based on the shape, trapezius shape, rhomboid shape, based on number of origin, triceps, biceps. So these all muscles are what we call muscle of the body, in which we are going to give in different name. Muscle of the head, highlight in general, muscle of the head are, these are muscle of facial expression. You can express your facial, like all are innervated by facial nerve. It is facial nerve, cranial nerve, number 7, that innervated. You can say frontalis, frontal. You can move your frontal upwards, orbicularis oculi for the eye, nasalis, levator labii superiores, orbicularis oris, around the mouth, depressor labii inferiores. It depresses the lower lip, depressor labii. Labii means lip. Depress angularis of the oris. Angle of the mouth should be downwards. Levator labii superiores, when we say moving the upper lip upwards. Platysma, zygomaticus major attached to zygomatic bone. So these are the muscles. As you observe, these are different muscle of facial expressions. You can see here orbicularis oculi around your eye. Here is orbicularis oculi. This is a circle. Here is orbicularis oris. So the different muscles are there. You can observe from the figure. Muscle of facial expression. Have you seen these muscles? How can they depress angular oris downwards? Orbicularis oculi, eye, close your eye. Have you seen how the frontal belly of occipitofrontalis move upwards? You move your eyebrows upwards. Platysma, your neck, orbicularis oris, have you seen? Your mouth, closing your mouth, open your mouth. Zygomaticus, when you are smile, when you are laughing. So these are facial expression. Muscle of mastication means those muscles which are using you for chewing or biting. These are major 4 muscles: temporalis muscle, masseter, medial pterygoid muscle, lateral pterygoid. These all muscles are innervated by mandibular nerves. Mandibular nerve means trigeminal nerve number 5. Number 5. So these are used for grinding. So you can observe these muscles. These muscles are used for chewing or for grinding, so that they are named as muscle of mastication. From the 4 muscles, it is only one muscle which depresses the mandible. The other all, they elevate the mandible or move the mandible upward. The other are muscle of the trunks, like muscle of the respiration, diaphragm, internal or external intercostal muscle. The other is muscle of anterior abdominal wall, like external abdominal oblique, internal abdominal, transverse abdominal, rectus abdominal. These are based on their name. Some of them are moving obliquely, some of them have them horizontally crossed, some of them straight. Have you seen these are muscle of between the ribs, external intercostal? Have you seen them? Some of them are their direction is oblique, some of them are moving horizontally, some of them internal. When we say inner, external means outer. This arrow shows you the direction of the fiber. Have you seen the arrows? Direction of the fibers. So these are some of the muscles. You can see posteriorly again. Posteriorly, pectoralis major muscle like deltoid muscle, serratus anterior, external oblique, rectus abdominis, serratus anterior. These are all muscles. The other are muscle of the back. These muscles primarily extend, rotate and laterally flex the vertebral column. These are different, like latissimus dorsi, trapezius, serratus posterior, supraspinatus, superior to spinous of scapula, infraspinatus below the spinous, rhomboid major and minor, levator scapulae, elevated scapula, levator scapula, levator means lifting upward, teres major and minor, the large, major and minor. When we say one is the large one, the other is small. Just you can observe here this muscle. As you observe here, you can observe trapezius muscle, you can observe deltoid, rhomboid minor in the major, teres major in the minor, latissimus dorsi is here, supraspinatus and the infraspinatus, levator scapulae. These all are located here on the posterior. So these are what we call extend, adduct, and rotate the arm medially. Muscle of the shoulder and the upper limb. So these muscles are used for rotation of and elevation, depression, protraction, reflection, extension, adduction, and abduction of pectoral girdle and the upper limbs. It can be triceps muscle, serratus anterior, pectoralis muscle, levator scapulae, deltoid, biceps brachii, and the brachialis muscles. These all. So you can observe here. Those muscles abduct, flex, and extend the arms. So anteriorly, you will have around the arm. Anteriorly, you will have three muscles. That is biceps brachii is there. Anteriorly, when we say around the arm region, brachialis is there again. The other is coracobrachialis, there are major three. Posteriorly, two muscle, anconeus muscle, and the triceps brachii are there again. Look, this posteriorly already what we have seen, like deltoid, like serratus anterior muscle. The other muscle of the arm already what we have seen now. Muscle of the arm anteriorly located, posteriorly located. Anteriorly three muscle, coracobrachialis, biceps brachii, and the brachialis. These all are innervated by musculocutaneous nerve. Posteriorly three, anconeus and the triceps. These are supplied by radial nerve. So the anterior muscle supplied by musculocutaneous nerves, but the posterior one supplied or innervated by radial nerves. So here are the muscle. Have you seen the muscle? Which have two head. That's why we say biceps. Have you seen it? Have two head. So here coracobrachialis, here brachialis. So these are major three which are located anteriorly. Muscle of forearm downward. Forearm again we are going to classify into anterior and posterior. Anteriorly muscles like flexor carpi radialis, flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor digitoris superficialis, palmaris longus, and the pronator teres. Don't forget when we say flexor means they are located anteriorly, they are flex. Carpi has the carpal bone. Radialis moving around the radial. So flexor carpi radialis moving around the radial, its function is flexing. Flexor carpi ulnaris moving around the ulna, its function is flexing. Deep muscle, flexor digitorium profundus. Flexor digitorium, when we say digitorium means digitis, profundus means deep. Flexor pollicis longus, pollicis means the thumb of the hand. Longus means long. Pronator quadratus means pronating your forearms. These are most anterior muscles as you have seen here. Different muscles are there anteriorly located. Flexor carpi ulnaris, flexor carpi radialis, flexor digitorium superficialis, and the flexor digitorium profundus again. Forearm muscle is the posterior compartments. You can classify as superficial and deep. Superficial, extensor digitorium. The anterior one we have say flexor because they are flexing, but the posterior one they are extensing. That's why we say extensor muscles. So extensor digitorium, extensor carpi radialis, extensor carpi ulnaris, brachioradialis. The deep one, adductor pollicis longus, and extensor pollicis brevis. Brevis means short, longus means long. Muscle acting on the hip and the lower lip. Muscle crossing the hip, different muscle. Hip flexor. You can flex your hip like gluteus muscle, medial compartment, adductor muscle of the thigh, anterior compartment, knee extensor, posterior compartment, knee flexor, and the lateral rotators muscle. So muscle of the thigh you can classify as anterior compartment. The anterior compartment are extensor muscle, medial compartment are adductor, and as a flexor compartment, it is a posterior muscle. As you have seen, there are different muscles with different name. You see here, for example, the anterior compartment is their function is extensor as knee joints. So like sartorius, if you observe here, sartorius is this quadrifemoris muscle like rectus femoris, vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, and the vastus intermedius. These are anterior. Adductor muscle, as you observe here, they are used for adducting. You can bring your two thigh region together. So this is what we call adductor muscle. So that's why we say adductor magnus, adductor longus, adductor brevis, pectineus, gracilis, and obturator externus. These are innervated by special nerve, that is what we call it obturator nerves, but the anterior compartment by femoral nerve. Anterior compartment, femoral nerve. Hamstring muscle, posterior one, knee flexors. So that they are innervated by special nerve, that is sciatic nerve. Sciatic nerve is the largest nerve in the body, the largest, the thickest, and the longest nerve in the body. It supplies this muscle. These are the major three muscle like semimembranous muscle, biceps femoris, and the semitendinous muscle. Have you seen these located posterior located muscles? It is this muscle, the major three muscle, biceps femoris, semitendinous, and the semimembranous. All they are innervated by special nerve, that is sciatic nerves. Gluteal muscles, like gluteus maximus is there, gluteus medius, and the gluteus minimus is there. Muscle of the leg, anterior compartment, there are different muscle again, anterior compartments. Their major function is toes extensor and the dorsiflexor. The other muscles are lateral compartment. They are moving your leg laterally or extensor. These are plantar flexor and evert your foot and maintain transverse arc so that you are standing on the ground very well. Posterior compartment, muscle of the posterior compartment are primarily plantar flexor and flex the toes. So posteriorly there are a muscle like superficial muscle, gastrocnemius, soleus, and the plantaris, the deep muscle, tibialis posterior, flexor digitorum longus, flexor hallucis longus, and the popliteus. So these are muscle of the leg. This is all about the all over the muscle or muscular system, which is very short. If you have question, you are welcome. That's all about. That's all about the portion. That's all about the human anatomy one again. See you next with human anatomy 2 on, third semester. If you have question, please don't forget to write me on my WhatsApp. I will communicate with your university managements and I will prepare final exam and I will send them and they will give you the exam. Please write me on my WhatsApp, then I will tell you from which chapter I am going to prepare final exam. I'm going to prepare for you from few chapters, so I will tell you this one. Till then, see you. Please take care from coronavirus. Stay safe. Thank you very much. Bye.